you've got folks who sit in this home, they've paid it down for years. They've followed that mindset of sit in the house, pay it down, pay it down, pay it down. And then all of a sudden they're there and, they're no longer working. They don't have any income. Reverse mortgages or equity takeouts, they think, it's only for seniors or for old folks or it can't help me. But that's not the case at all. We've seen reverse mortgages work for people to get into home ownership. We've seen reverse mortgages essentially kind of solve the problem of people and their parents sitting in a home where they have all that equity and they're sitting kind of house poor and they're not actually living their lives.
Right.
And so they're sitting there and people are looking at their parents going, man, like my folks worked their whole lives to pay off this house, but they're not really happy.
Right.
They're not old enough to go into a home. They don't want to leave yet, but they have no money. They're not really living month to month happily. So, the reverse mortgage comes into play here where it doesn't suit everybody. Like we do a very deep, detailed discovery call. It's like, listen, if you're the kind of person that's gonna go out and buy a yacht with the money, then it doesn't suit you, right?
Financial responsibility.
Yeah. We need to make sure that we cross all the boxes here, right?
Okay.
So, you got folks who sit there, they're like, okay, I want to be able to help my kids pay for their wedding, or I want to be able to help my kids invest and buy their first home. But I'm sitting here, I got this home, maybe I live in the GTA, I got this house worth $1 million, $800,000, 1.2, I got no mortgage. Oh, what do I do?
Yeah.
So we show them that you can tap into that equity by taking a reverse mortgage. So you don't have to qualify, which is different from a regular mortgage. You don't have to.
Yeah, let's dig deep on that. So you don't have to qualify.
Don't have to qualify.
Okay.
No income required. So the biggest restriction folks have usually is like, well, if I got to get a mortgage, then I got to have income. I got to have a job. What am I going to do?
Yeah, fair. Yeah, you got to qualify.
You got to qualify, right? Reverse mortgage, no qualifying required.
Okay.
The next thing is no tax implication, and it doesn't affect pension. So for older folks who are sitting in a home, it's like, well, I'm getting this pension now. If I get this money out as a reverse mortgage, as capital, is it going to affect my pension and my income?
Okay.
Doesn't affect pension, no income, no taxes.
Let me back it up there. So I am 45 and I paid off my house. Can I get a reverse mortgage?
Great question. No, you can't.
Okay.
You're too young.
Okay, so what would be like right now if I'm thinking, okay, Nate, tell me about this reverse mortgage. My house is paid off. Like, would you say is the perfect candidate for a reverse mortgage?
Yeah,
who does it make
question.
sense for?
Great question. So the line is 55 and older.
Okay, so there we go.
Okay, right? And the reality is that the older you are, the more suitable you are, because really we look at three different things. We look at age, we look at location, and then we look at how much equity you have in the property, so loan to value. So for example, if you have no mortgage, or you can have a little bit of a mortgage, you can own a property worth, $900,000, have a $100,000 mortgage, and you can do a reverse mortgage up to usually around 50% of the equity. So let's say up to $500,000 if it's $1 million property.
Okay,
right?
fair.
And you got to be older than 55, but the older you are, the more you qualify for.
So your loan to value, let's say, for someone who doesn't know what that means, your house is worth $1 million.
Yep.
I'm 75, let's say. Do I fall for 50%, or they're saying I could get a little bit more?
Exactly. The older you are, you could get more loan to value.
Right. Okay.
And you qualify for more. So for example, if your parents are somebody who's, they're in their 70s, they've got no mortgage or small mortgage, and I really want them to help me with the down payment on a home, and I need like $100,000.
Okay.
No problem. That's an easy solution where it's like, for sure they would qualify. It could be essentially taken out as a lump sum, provided to your kids.
Okay.
And the way it's structured is that there's no interest, there's no payments, you pay nothing.
Okay.
It's a reverse mortgage. So picture it being let's call it a 5-year term.
Okay.
There are different terms, but we'll say 5-year term. What happens is that at the end of the 5-year term, then the interest and the principal that you've taken, the $100,000 plus the interest, which would, let's call it, 5% interest, is then at the end of the term is then due like a regular mortgage where they can reverse mortgage. They can pay the capital, they can sell their home, they can collect the equity from their child that they lent it to, put it back on there. There's lots of things they can do.
Okay.
But it provides that gap and that solution for people who are like, man, I really want to help my kids get into the first home, but I don't got this money just sitting around. What can I do? Reverse mortgage is the solution.
Real estate, as we know, in the last 5 years went down.
Mm-hmm.
So now what happens 5 years later? So that $100,000 that my kids would have bought something with, let's just say I can't pay the 100 back.
Mm-hmm.
What happens?
Marvelous question. And the reality is that most people don't as well take the max, right? Like let's say, you qualify for $500,000. Well, what happens is, let's say you take $100,000 out, it's a 6% interest rate or 5%. It's a little bit more than a normal interest rate in a regular mortgage. So like right now, for example, let's say it's 5.6% interest, but it's not, you're not paying it monthly. So it's not like it's a cash flow issue.
Okay.
So it ends up being comparable at the end of the term.
Okay.
And then you get to 5 years and you say, what do I do here? I owe the 100 grand plus the interest. Well, there's lots of things you can do. Some folks decide that they want to go ahead and they want to use capital, take out another reverse mortgage. Some people say, you know what, we want to use another 100 grand. Our home's worth $900,000. We want to take another 100 grand and travel, live off of it, give it to our other child, whatever the case may be.
So now they're at 300.
They essentially can continue to roll with it if they like to, until they get to a point where, now they're 75, they're 80 years old. They're at a point where they're going to then sell the home and go into a retirement home.
Okay.
They just go ahead and they pay out whatever's the balance is owing, and they take the remaining equity, and that's their capital. So it's a way to access the money we call it sleeping money. It's sleeping in the bricks and mortar.
Yeah.
This is what I said to my own parents. They worked for many, many years, worked really hard to pay off their mortgage, got to a point where they paid off their mortgage, they retired, and they were getting very little pension, not enough really to kind of do what they wanted to do. Like go to Aruba a couple times a year, do these things they wanted to do. And I said to my mom, I was like, Mom, here's the thing. What's the point? What was the point of spending your whole life paying your mortgage off to not actually do anything with it? The people with the reverse mortgage, they have this mindset, like with the capital in their home, oh, the money just sits there forever and then you pass on.
Yeah.
Well, it's your capital. You should be able to access it and use it to live the best quality life you can.
Reverse mortgage, to summarize it here, 55 plus, no payments till the end of the term, whether it be a 5-year, 10-year, 3-year. If you want to roll it over, you can. And then the ideal candidate right now, we're thinking someone that you're going to pay for your kids, reverse mortgage, give the money to the kids, they buy a property. Well, thanks so much for coming in, Nate. We really appreciate all the information there. There's some great information here. The bottom is going to have our information there if you want to reach out, set up a phone call to actually deep dive into your situation. If you like this, hit the subscribe button, and we will be doing this. We're going to try to check in with different professionals amongst the industry. Leave some comments if there's any people you want to see, you want to hear from, or any topics you want to know. We'll be jumping on there to discuss it all.